In the battle of F-16 versus next-gen fighters, can a Cold War speed demon outmaneuver the high-tech stealth assassins of today? Does old-school agility still rule the skies, or has air combat evolved beyond dogfights? Today we dive into the ultimate aerial showdown, where raw power meets next-gen warfare. F-16 versus F-35, old school versus next-gen. It's 2015. Headlines explode with claims that the almighty trillion-dollar F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, America's most advanced stealth fighter, couldn't hold its own in a dogfight against the decades-old F-16 Fighting Falcon. Internet forums light up with aviation enthusiasts calling the F-35 a flying disaster. The reports are damning. Memes flood in. Some even go as far as to say, "Give us back our tax money." But is this really the full story? Spoiler alert, not even close. Let's untangle the myths and get to the facts about this next-gen powerhouse versus the classic dogfighting legend. The controversy began with a leaked Department of Defense report from January 2015. It outlined a series of mock dogfights between the F-35A, the sleek new tech-filled superstar, and the battle-proven F-16D Block 40, a mainstay of air superiority since the 1980s. On paper, it seemed like a no contest, like asking a smartphone to beat an old flip phone in speed texting. Yet according to the report, the F-35 struggled to keep up. Its pilot described the jet as sluggish, and it couldn't even point its nose fast enough to target the F-16 effectively. In head-to-head dogfights, the F-35 got outmaneuvered, outpaced, and figuratively speaking, outgunned. The conclusion? The F-16 gave the F-35 a proper spanking in the air. Cue the chaos. Aviation forums, Reddit threads, and YouTube videos exploded. The F-35 can't dogfight became the rallying cry of armchair pilots and online warriors. Memes compared it to a flying brick. The public saw a $1.7 trillion boondoggle, the most expensive military project in history, and many couldn't help but feel the F-35 wasn't worth its hefty price tag. But as entertaining as the internet backlash was, there was a big catch to that report. Here's the thing. The F-35 was never meant to be a classic, hot rod dogfighter like the F-16. In fact, judging it on those terms is like judging a smartphone based on how well it flips open. It's not the point. The F-35's entire design philosophy is built around stealth, advanced sensors, and beyond visual range combat. While the F-16 is like a boxer in the ring, nimble, quick, and dangerous up close, the F-35 is more like a sniper, silently locking on and eliminating targets before they even know what hit them. The F-35 trades raw speed and maneuverability for cutting-edge technology. Its stealthy design makes it nearly invisible to radar. Its data fusion capabilities mean it's not just flying, it's controlling the entire battlefield. And its pilot can literally see through the jet with a 360-degree helmet display. But these are tools for modern combat, not for Top Gun-style dogfights. In fact, the F-35's top speed of Mach 1.6 pales in comparison to the F-16's Mach 2+. Add in the fact that the F-35B and C variants can only maintain short supersonic bursts before overheating their stealth coatings, and you see why the F-35 feels less thrilling on paper. But that's the point. The F-35 doesn't need to win a traditional dogfight. It's designed to avoid one entirely. By the time an F-16 or any enemy fighter gets close enough for a knife fight in the skies, the F-35's already fired its missiles, turned invisible, and left the battlefield. So why did it struggle so much in 2015? Well, because it wasn't fighting like an F-35. Here's where things get spicy. That 2015 dogfight? It wasn't exactly fair. The F-35A used in tests was an early test model, an AF-2 flight sciences aircraft, loaded with software restrictions that limited its performance. These limitations were designed to prevent test pilots from pushing the aircraft too hard before the design was finalized. Think of it like racing with a car stuck in third gear. But that's not all. The F-35 in this exercise was also stripped of some of its most important capabilities. It didn't have the radar-absorbing stealth coatings that make it so hard to detect. It also couldn't use its high-tech helmet-mounted display system, which allows the pilots to target and fire at enemies without even needing to point the nose of the aircraft. In other words, the F-35 was fighting with its hands tied behind its back. Meanwhile, the F-16D it was up against had no such restrictions. Fully equipped and unrestricted, it was ready to perform as it had done for decades. Of course, the F-16 won. It was like asking a sprinter to race a marathoner while a marathoner was carrying a backpack full of bricks. But what happens when you remove those restrictions and let the F-35 show its true potential? That's where the 2017 red flag exercises comes in. Fast forward to 2017. The F-35 had undergone significant upgrades, shedding the software restrictions that had hobbled it in 2015. This time it entered the red flag exercises, the US military's most realistic and challenging air combat training. The results? Absolutely stunning. In these large-scale simulations, F-35s racked up a kill ratio of 20:1. For every F-35 shot down, it eliminated 20 enemy fighters. The US Marine Corps F-35B variant even went 24:0 in a separate exercise. That's complete and utter domination. And here's the kicker. The F-35 wasn't even focused on dogfighting. Its primary role in these exercises was to act as a battlefield coordinator, using its advanced sensors to provide targeting data for older jets like the F-16 and the F-A-18. Even while playing quarterback, it was still wiping the floor with enemy aircraft. So what changed? In these exercises, the F-35 wasn't forced to fight like an F-16. It fought like what it truly is, a fifth-generation fighter that sees first, shoots first, and kills first. Stealth, advanced sensors, and long-range missile tech gave it the edge. The opposing fighters never even saw it coming. If you're judging purely by traditional dogfighting metrics, the F-16 might still take the crown. It's faster, more agile, and can pull off tighter turns in a knife fight. But in real-world combat, the F-35 changes the rules entirely. It's not a fighter jet, it's a flying supercomputer with missiles. The F-16 may look better in a 1v1 brawl, but the F-35 doesn't brawl. It's already won before the fight even starts. When it comes to aerial combat, few rivalries are as interesting as the battle between the F-16 Fighting Falcon and the F-A-18 Hornet. These two aircraft have served in countless missions, proving their worth time and time again. But while they may share a similar legacy, their design philosophies and battlefield roles make them vastly different machines. One is a sleek, high-speed dogfighter with laser-sharp maneuverability, while the other is a rugged, carrier-based fighter that can take a hit and keep flying. So if these two ever went head-to-head in a dogfight, who would come out on top? Let's break it down. The F-16 Fighting Falcon is an absolute legend in the world of fighter jets. Introduced in 1978, this aircraft was designed for speed, agility, and air superiority. It's one of the most widely used fighters in the world, serving in over 25 countries with more than 4,600 units produced. But what makes it such a force to be reckoned with? For starters, the F-16 is fast. Really fast. It can hit speeds of Mach 2 or roughly 1,500 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest fourth-generation fighters ever built. Combine that with its 9G maneuverability, and you get an aircraft that can literally turn on a dime. If dogfights were still the high speed, close-range brawls they used to be, the F-16 would be the undisputed king. Another major advantage? The bubble canopy cockpit. This design feature gives pilots unmatched visibility, which is a game-changer in dogfights. Many aerial combat victories come down to who sees who first, and the F-16's design ensures its pilot has a full 360-degree view of the battle. In a one-on-one engagement, this could mean the difference between life and death. But the F-16 has one big weakness. It's a single-engine jet. While this makes it lighter and faster, it also means that if the engine gets hit, it's game over. Unlike twin-engine aircraft, the F-16 doesn't have a backup. That's a major factor in a prolonged engagement, where damage resistance can be just as important as raw performance. If the F-16 is the high-speed hot rod of the skies, the F-A-18 Hornet is the rugged all-terrain pickup truck. Built to withstand the punishing environment of aircraft carrier operations, this twin-engine beast is one of the toughest and most reliable aircraft in the US military's arsenal. One of the biggest advantages the F-A-18 has over the F-16 is survivability. Unlike the Falcon, which relies on a single engine, the Hornet packs two General Electric F404 turbofan engines. If one takes a hit, the F-A-18 can still limp back to base or, more likely, to an aircraft carrier in the middle of the ocean. That's a huge advantage in combat. The F-A-18 is also a carrier-capable fighter, which means it has to be built like a tank. Landing on a moving aircraft carrier deck is no joke. It requires reinforced landing gear, a strong airframe, and an arrestor hook. The extra durability makes it a tougher plane overall, able to take more damage in battle than the lighter F-16. However, durability comes at a cost. The FA-18 isn't as fast or as agile as the F-16, with a top speed of Mach 1.8. It's noticeably slower than the Falcon. It also has a lower G limit, 7.5 Gs versus the F-16's 9 Gs, which means it can't turn as sharply or sustain the same extreme maneuvers. In a classic Top Gun-style dogfight, that puts it at a disadvantage. But where the Hornet really shines is firepower and versatility. It can carry more fuel and weapons than the F-16, making it a better multi-role fighter. With 9 hardpoints for mounting air-to-air and air-to-ground weapons, it has more flexibility in combat. That's a big deal in real-world scenarios, where having a wider arsenal can mean the difference between winning and losing a fight. So, if an F-16 and an FA-18 faced off in a dogfight, who would win? It depends on the circumstances. The F-16 is simply faster, more agile, and can handle higher G-forces. In a one-on-one dogfight, especially in open skies, the Falcon can outmaneuver and outrun the Hornet, getting into position to score a kill before the FA-18 can react. The FA-18's twin engine and reinforced airframe mean it can take more punishment than the F-16. In a prolonged fight where both aircraft take damage, the Hornet has a better chance of making it back home. The FA-18's canted vertical stabilizers and leading-edge extensions give it an extremely high angle of attack capability. That means it can pull off high G pull-ups and sudden vertical maneuvers that could surprise an F-16 in close combat. While the F-16 is deadly in a dogfight, the FA-18 can carry more weapons, making it a better multi-role fighter. If an engagement involves air-to-ground operations or a naval mission, the Hornet is the better choice. While the F-16 may be the better dogfighter, that doesn't mean it's the superior aircraft overall. In real combat scenarios, context matters. If the goal is air superiority, where the only objective is to dominate the skies in a fighter-versus-fighter battle, the F-16 is king. Its speed, agility, and visibility give it an advantage in one-on-one engagements. If the mission involves carrier operations, naval defense, or a mix of air-to-air and air-to-ground combat, the FA-18 dominates. Its ability to take off from an aircraft carrier, carry a heavier weapons load, and survive battle damage makes it the better multi-role fighter. If these two jets went head-to-head in a dogfight, the F-16 would likely win. It's faster, more agile, and better suited for high-speed and aerial combat. In a pure air superiority fight, the Falcon is the better plane. But in real-world combat, dogfighting isn't everything. The FA-18 brings more to the table in terms of survivability, firepower, and mission flexibility. It's better suited for modern naval warfare, and it can take a beating while still completing its mission. That's a wrap on F-16 versus next-gen fighters. Is raw speed and agility still king, or has stealth and tech changed the game forever? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. More epic aerial battles are coming your way.